Thank you, everybody. You have made it. We are recording now. We've made it this far. Welcome to another episode of Fantasy Football for Dummies by Dummies. I am Austyn, and as you can see, if you're viewing this, dummy number one. I guess this isn't a podcast, so you have to be viewing this. And Lash, he didn't change his name to dummy number two, but that's dummy number two over there. We are doing episode 4. That's a joke to my golf attire. Episode 4 via Zoom. Sorry, the dad jokes are coming in, and they are not pretty. We're doing it by Zoom because, it's just we're trying
COVID
something
season.
new. COVID season, exactly. We are at new heights in Medicine Hat, so we are just soaring. Not a number you want to increase exponentially, but here we are. Hopefully we can increase our viewership exponentially, Lash. And the way to do that is to actually talk about fantasy football rather than COVID. So let's get into some fantasy football discussion. So let's recap on last week's games. Let's recap how you and I did, Lash, in our respective leagues. And then we'll also talk about our flyers of the week from last week. See how right or wrong we were. I will let you go first before I gloat about another victory over here.
Well, I'll skip the gloating, but I won. Honestly, just straight up on the back of Josh Allen and Alvin Kamara, 30 points each, 29 for Allen, 35 for Kamara. Easy. But another week without Mixon, and now he's headed to the IR, so might be a bit of choppy sailing ahead for my squad, but hopefully good old McKinnon and Gio Bernard can fill the void at running back too.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, you even have Joe Mixon's backup, so you're just laughing over there. You're like, I don't care what happens to Joe Mixon.
The talent is at a deficit, but yeah, I guess.
Yeah, him going on IR frees up a roster spot in your league, so at least you got that going for you. Yeah. But I don't have that luxury. But anything else to add about your week last week, Flash?
No, I don't
Still
think so.
Still sitting pretty at the top of the league, I presume.
Yep, 8-2, baby.
Well, I moved up to 4-6, and after episode 2, I ended up scoring a measly 30 points. Or no, after episode 1, 30 points, and my playoff hopes were on the fritz. And now I've moved up from 11th to 9th, one spot out of the playoffs with another victory on the back of Kyler Murray for another week. He had 29 points, and that was Tyler Bass, my kicker, had the second highest total for my team. He had 18 points, so that was wild. Yeah, everybody else was pretty abysmal. AJ Brown, terrible, 2 points. I got the most production out of my tight end spot at 3.3 points.
Wow.
That was my most out of a tight end this year, I'm pretty sure.
The whole year?
Yeah, the whole year.
Bruh.
Just to clarify, yeah.
I'm very happy to have Kelsey.
I've basically been trying to operate as if I don't need the tight end. Like, I'm putting a lot of pressure on the rest of my positions. It was a close game. I benched DeAndre Swift last minute for Gus Edwards, thinking he would be running all over the Pats defense. The Pats defense decided to show up on Sunday Night Football and get a W. So this past week was really great for myself. But anyways, we're sitting at 4-6 and still need to win at least 2 games probably to get in. So this week's a little juicy. We've got some nice matchups, but we'll get into that in a few minutes. So my trade deadline came and went, Lash. Well, yesterday was the deadline day. And of course I was out of habit because I've been obsessively looking for trades. This morning I was looking at trade ideas and to no avail. I can't even send them anymore. But one that I did notice, and I'm curious if you have any thoughts on this, Darius Slayton for the Giants. Now, this is my formal recommendation. If you can create a package and send it off to Darius Slayton, He's wide receiver 29 right now, but he's got a juicy playoff schedule. If you're in the playoffs and just itching for a nice wide receiver, you can just slot in at flex and just ride the wave in the playoffs. Darius Slayton's your guy. He's actually had a pretty good year. I mean, wide receiver 29 like that, that's pretty good.
Right. Well, if you're sending the package to Darius Slayton, please let us know. We'd love to get in contact with him if you have that kind of contact with him.
Man, I butchered
but
it.
if you're sending a package for Darius Slayton, that seems a lot more reasonable.
Oh man,
yeah,
words are
I don't
not my
mind
strong
it.
suits.
I don't mind it. I was thinking about trading for Sterling Shepard, but I have enough receiver depth that I don't really need that. But yeah, you're just putting a lot of faith into Daniel Jones at that point, and that can either lead to a 2-touchdown week with like 100 yards, or it can sink your entire season in a playoff game, giving you like 2 points or something. So it's like a true range of outcomes there. But if you need that boomer bust to maybe like give your team a spark, that sounds like a great option. If your trade deadline's still open, mine is until Monday, I believe. So yeah, if you can do that, you shouldn't have to pay too much for him either, unless other listeners are in your league and holding on to him now.
Exactly. Yeah. I just want to give, like, now that they are on their bye right now, it might be a good time to get them. First of all, if your deadline obviously hasn't passed, this pertains to you. The next couple games, in week 12, they're up against Cincinnati, 25th ranked defense against wide receivers on the NFL app. Then Seattle, 32nd ranked. Then the Cardinals, 26th. This is the week 1 of playoffs. Then the Browns, 27th ranked. And then Baltimore. So like you get 4 good weeks, and then Baltimore probably like the championship. This is why I'm saying put him in that flex for a couple weeks. I mean, he could easily, like, if I got him, I mean, I would have loved to make a trade for him. It got declined. I forget the package. Otherwise, I'd let everybody know. But he's just one of those guys that, like, he could be a game changer over those next couple weeks against the Bengals and then the Seahawks, just to get you into playoffs. There you go. Let's go. But yeah, big boomer bust potential. I just checked his stats, a couple 3-point games, a couple 0.8 or 1.8 point. So, but then there's a couple where there's some pretty good. I mean, the schedule definitely didn't help him to start this year. Anyways, so that's my formal prediction, but moving on. So I was talking about matchups. Lash, do you have any matchups that you are loving? I've got a couple listed here, but curious on your thoughts.
Nope. My entire team has orange or red matchups. Marquise Brown has the Titans, who are 29th ranked against receivers. But that's Marquise Brown. Talk about boomer bust potential. It's usually bust this season. So he's in my flex, but I'm not excited about it. I picked up Kerryon Johnson. He's one of my flyers for this week. 31st ranked defense for Carolina against the run. But for the most part, it's just worry for my squad and their matchups. I picked up Aaron Rodgers for the playoffs because he has a pretty good playoff schedule versus Josh Allen, who has a pretty bad playoff schedule. But this week he plays the Colts, who are first ranked. So he's in my starting lineup because Allen's on bye, but I'm not excited about that either.
I wouldn't be. I've got the Colts winning that one. So,
then he'll throw the ball a lot.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, any other ones? Or it's all just bad?
It's not ideal. It's injuries. Half my roster's hurt. The other half has red matchups.
Oh, so, man.
Yeah.
So it's a good week to be 8-2 in your league, basically.
Yeah,
really,
for sure.
Really nice. Well, it's a good week to be 4-6. Well, it's never a good week to be 4-6. Mediocrity is never okay. But if we are accepting mediocrity today, it is a good week because I have got a few key matchups that I'm loving. First of all, the Colts running backs are up against the 31st ranked, speaking of Green Bay, 31st ranked Green Bay run defense. And I've got Jonathan Taylor. Has he burned me multiple times, including last week on Thursday Night Football? Yes. Am I convinced that he will turn it around against Green Bay? Yes. Is that blind optimism? Yes. All of that aside, I am riding it. The 31st ranked run defense, I got to go with it. Nyheim Hines, he was good because the Titans were blowing up the interior of the offensive line on every single Jonathan Taylor run that I had seen, basically. So Nyheim Hines being a pass catching back, like, well, I mean, he was running really well too, so I can't say that, but he was much more of like an off the tackle runner, and that benefited them so much. I think that Jonathan Taylor definitely has that ability, and they know that he has that ability. So I think that they're going to keep going back to him because they have that luxury. They just beat the Titans, and so now they have first place in the division. So they've got they've got to figure out what Jonathan Taylor can provide, and who better to do that against than a 31st ranked run team. I mean, it's fantasy, so who knows if they're giving up a lot of yardage or maybe just a lot of short touchdowns, but who knows? Anyways, from a fantasy perspective, I'm trusting my gut there. I've also got a couple of Chargers against the Jets. So that's an awesome time either way. The 24th ranked against wide receivers. I got Keenan Allen, and I picked up Kalen Ballage last week. He was one of our flyers, and that was a pretty sick pickup. And they're 26th ranked. So just green across the board there. Picked up Jalen Reagor. He's up against the 27th ranked Browns. Mike Davis against the number 32 ranked Detroit Lions. A defensive coach and Matt Patricia is just garbage defensively. He needs to be fired. And then I picked up Logan Thomas at tight end. As I mentioned, my tight end production has been abysmal all year long. He's up against the 31st ranked Bengals. So if we're just going based off of matchups, I think I got this in the bag. The only problem is I'm up against the second place team in my league. So it's not ideal.
Our teams are on very different spectrums this week.
Yeah, this week it's like the exact opposite. And DeAndre Swift, I should mention, you had mentioned Kerryon Johnson. DeAndre Swift just abruptly got a concussion midweek, and or at least it got announced. And so he's out now, and he was up against the 29th ranked, I think you said 31 on your app, 29th on the NFL app. Like the Panthers, I mean, that was so sweet. I was just ready to have like a nice week of solid starters across the board. I am trusting that the Chargers stick with Kalen Ballage, and Mike Davis in an offense ran without Teddy Bridgewater is still going to be well run. So prayers up there. But I mean, the matchups are sexy.
This week they're nice. Going forward, they're pretty volatile players. So
yeah, exactly. Austin Eckler coming back will be treacherous for Kalen Ballage's production. Christian McCaffrey probably coming back is going to make Mike Davis pretty much droppable. So I'm going to really be banking on DeAndre Swift's head to get better. And then after that, Jonathan Taylor to
break out.
Yeah, he needs to just break out this game and just keep that RB1 position the rest of the year.
He needs to break out of a few more tackles than he has been, because he's broken about, I think, 10 tackles on over 120 rushing attempts for last place in the league in that regard.
Oh, nice. That's really good.
He's no Dalvin Cook, but like you said, they've got Green Bay this week, and Dalvin Cook made them look silly. So hopefully he can be like a quarter of Dalvin Cook, and you should have a good week.
I'm not asking for 200 yards here. I'm just asking for like 60 and a touchdown. I'll take that. We don't need Dalvin Cook production. All right, moving right along the track of this episode. We are the train track, that is. We're talking about the hype trains of the hype train for this week. Oh, we're at 4 episodes in. We'll figure out how to segue. Ignoring the fact that I'm on a podcast that I should know how to segue properly. So I've got 2 people here. I don't know if you added anybody unbeknownst to myself, but Taysom Hill, Lash.
Yeah.
Are you buying or selling your ticket on this hype train?
I'm not sure. I think I'm selling it. the dude has thrown like 24 passes, I think, total in his NFL career. He's completed like 14 of them, but he's 0-1 in terms of TDs and interceptions as well. So his passing outlook isn't great. Um, and even though he's listed as the starter, I'm not confident that we're not going to see a healthy dose of Jameis Winston mixed in there. Like they could just start him and then on the second play put in Jameis kind of thing.
Right.
So there's that element to be very cautious of. But if he, for this week, I'm off, but going forward, if he's like a good gadget player, he runs the ball well from the quarterback, seeing a majority of the snaps, I think he could be worth it. And I know there were platforms where he was like tight end eligible. So if he's tight end eligible on whatever platform you play fantasy football, plug him in at tight end because he will probably see more work than the average garbage ass tight end that the likes of Ozzy are going through right now.
Yeah, I wish he was. I'd pick him up in a heartbeat. I just checked. He's definitely QB. So I'm actually going to disagree with you here, Lash. This might be the first time we've disagreed, and I am buying. I am buying Taysom Hill stock, and I'm buying my ticket to the hype train. I am boarding, and I'm getting a first class ticket because why wouldn't I want to pick up, like if I needed a quarterback, which I don't having Kyler Murray. But if you need a quarterback, why not grab a guy who is going to be pounding the rock like crazy? We know he's got tons of runs designated for him. But plus, if he actually can throw the football even just a little bit, which you got Alvin Kamara there, best pass catching back in the league.
And Michael Thomas.
And Michael Thomas. Yeah,
himself.
slant man Michael Thomas. And red zone target Michael Thomas. I think that he could actually put up some pretty good fantasy production. It might not be pretty to watch the game, but from a fantasy perspective, I actually really do like this matchup. It's the 32nd ranked fantasy defense to quarterbacks, the Atlanta Falcons are. So yes, it's a division opponent. Yes, their defense has gotten better as the weeks have gone on. But we know Sean Payton is offensively savvy. We know Taysom Hill is going to be pounding the rock like crazy. He might even get a couple touchdown runs, maybe not passes, but runs, and which are more valuable, obviously. So I think that I'd be buying my ticket here. And if you need a quarterback, I mean, first and foremost, if he's tight end eligible, pick that man up. Like, cut the crap. Stop listening to us. Put us on pause. Flex. Yeah, put us on pause. Go put him in tight end spot because I would be like, I don't know. I'm kind of sad I'm not on Twitter right now adding the NFL fantasy app because I just want them to make that the case because Logan Thomas just ain't it for me. I'm sorry. But Taysom Hill is it this week. I'm buying my ticket. I'm getting off topic. Do it. And Lash, do you have a rebuttal before we move on?
No, that's kind of why I had a bit of hesitation because I agree with all your points. Like I think he could run the ball quite a bit. That's where you get a lot of like good use out of a fantasy quarterback is when they can run the ball. So there will be a floor there. But like I said, I'm just not sure if the whole Taysom Hill is the starter is going to lead to him actually being the starter. That's my only concern is he could be the starter, but still only play 30% or less of the snaps kind of thing. However, I am very, very happy to have Alvin Kamara. I can only assume there will be a number of just dump offs to him in the flats. So
yeah, exactly. I foresee a lot of screens in this game. If Taysom Hill's the starter, especially, and actually, like I say actually the starter, but to your point, just like actually playing throughout the game. All right, moving on. I've got another player here, Lash. Jalen Reagor. Right. He's been getting a little bit of hype. He's back from injury. The first round pick for the good old Philadelphia Eagles, who look like they need some help. Are you buying or selling the hype on Jalen Reagor this week for the old Eagles? Fly, Eagles, fly.
I'm buying it. The Browns have been getting torched by receivers. They're 27th or 28th, depending what platform we're talking, in terms of receiver defense. Carson Wentz holds the ball for so long, I can only assume that he's looking to air it out, and Jalen Reagor's speed will definitely provide him a target to air it out too. So, yeah, I'm on board with it. I like it a lot. You said you were going to start him and then pulled him out for Jonathan Taylor, so I don't want to talk you into doing something that you don't want to do, but I think I would be starting Reagor if he was on my team.
Yeah, I was so torn on this one. I picked him up. And I didn't know what to do with them. So I actually, before we started recording, I switched out AJ Brown and Jalen Reagor just because of the matchup difference there. And I kept Jonathan Taylor in at flex. So I managed to get both of those guys. Yeah. So I totally agree with you. I'm punching in my ticket for, I'm hopping on this train here. And I don't know, I've never ridden a train, so I don't know what the proper terminology is, but we'll figure it out. If anybody is, I mean, our buddy's a conductor, but he's more of like he's not punching the tickets. So anyways, Jalen Reagor, I totally agree. I think that he will be torching the Browns on at least one occasion here. Even if he gets me 4 points, it's better than what I've been getting from my wide receivers. So it's been good. I'm 4-6 for a reason, people. It's not that I'm bad at my job as a fantasy analyzer here, or analyzer. Again, words are not my strong suit. It's just that I get bad luck, bad matchups. This week's a good matchup. We're gonna turn it around. Jalen Reagor is gonna torch the Brownies, at least on one occasion. I still have the Browns winning this one, but Jalen Reagor punching the ticket. All right, let's move on to Flyers of the Week. Lash, kick it off. Who's your Flyer of the Week?
Well, before we get into that, let's just start with like how we did last week. I kind of went through and wrote down just who we picked, where we went wrong, where we did good. Reynolds for the Rams, the best receiver of the trio. We were very, very high on that game, and nobody else showed up other than him. Every touchdown was just run in. Cooper Kupp and Robert Woods, I think, combined for less than 20 points. So that wasn't very fun.
Oh, we told a lot of people that they were going to go. I told them that they were both going to go for 100 yards. I remember that specifically.
I think Kupp was the better of the two, and he had 10 points in PPR. So that was a big miss on our part. We definitely told them to start them over Claypool and Godwin. And Godwin had 15 in PPR. Claypool had 20. Somehow the Steelers had 3 top 10 receivers, though, I think. Yeah, that was last week. Or top 11 anyway. I think Claypool was at 11. And then we were mostly right on Balaj. We kind of farced that one around. We couldn't decide what we wanted to do with him. But I think I said to start Melvin Gordon over him. That didn't pan out well at all. DJ Dallas was also in there. He didn't show up, but we didn't project him too, so that's good. However, right. Bo Scarborough and Carlos Hyde this week, Carlos Hyde had a good week. Scarborough kind of cut everyone else out of the picture unexpectedly for me anyways.
Yeah. Alex Collins I didn't even know he was there. Week, and then freaking Bo Scarborough. Like, they're just picking up. I mean, they're all better than Rashad Penny, so.
That's true.
Slight jab.
And then we were split on our decision about Antonio Brown. You said that he shouldn't be played, or you were very, very cautious at best about playing him. I was on board, and in PPR, he ended up with 13.6. I think that ended up being like 6.6 or something, 7 points in standard. I think it was 5 or 6 catches, so something like 7 or 8 points. And then our quarterbacks, oof. Baker, Goff, and Foles, I think combined they put up 18 points. So if you put them all in your lineup at once, you were happy, but you can't do that. So you were not very happy at all if you listened to us.
Yeah, Owen had a 2 quarterback league, so at least he might have gotten 11 points out of that. But yeah, sorry,
Goff
Owen.
was the best of the bunch with 10. like
Oh, the
in
guy
that
that
vaunted Seahawks matchup.
Man, that is frustrating. I'm sorry to everybody personally. I'm genuinely sorry because I was so hyped up about Goff on Sunday in that episode that we did live. I totally misread the situation. I guess I don't know. Maybe we don't know what we're talking about. Lash, the 32nd ranked
Well,
Seahawks, and Goff puts up 10 points. What are we
it's
doing?
called Fantasy for Dummies, by dummies. So we don't need
True.
to know what we're doing.
Exactly. Yeah, we're just a couple of dummies. So perfect. So was that it for the recap? I think that crossed off pretty well.
Just Gallman, we missed on that one pretty hard. We said to sit him in favor of J.K. Dobbins, which in theory seems like the better play. Dobbins is a better talent, but that three-way backfield is not a pretty sight for fantasy purposes. Yeah. And then we also were both pretty high on Deshaun Watson over Big Ben. And again, the Steelers just absolutely went off, and Watson went off the field with some rain and had a very, very pedestrian day. But we had a lot more misses than hits last week.
Oh, man.
But I feel like our process was right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Weather was not considered in a couple of those games when we made our decisions. So I will preface by saying that, but good idea on recapping the Flyers of the week, because we need to be held accountable. Somebody needs to hold these dummies accountable. And,
not to totally discredit ourselves, please continue watching.
Exactly. Watch for the entertainment, or watch for the fantasy blunders. Stay for the entertainment, or something like that. Anyways. All right. Well, how about a couple of Flyers of the week this week? How about we hit some this week?
All right.
I've got a feeling.
Okay, what are you feeling about QB? Do you got anybody there?
Other than, I guess we could snipe Taysom Hill from the hype train, but
all right, I've got 3 of them. I've got enough to go around.
Beautiful.
Kirk Cousins and Andy Dalton, they both play each other. I think I would lean towards Kirk Cousins. I had him on my roster prior to trading for Rodgers, so he's got a couple of really good weapons in Thielen and Jefferson. Jefferson has like the 7th most yards in the league on like the 47th most targets I saw today.
I saw that. So, that's crazy.
That's a pretty good start for a rookie. And Kirk Cousins has to benefit a little bit from that. And then this is a lot more of a deeper shot, similar to my Baker and Foles take last week. I'm going to say Alex Smith against Cincinnati. Captain check down himself. He'll throw it short and just hope other people rack up the yards after catch. He's had back-to-back 300 yard passing weeks. So against the Cincinnati defense, who has been also getting torched by the pass, I think there might be something there. And this is just Flyers. I'm not recommending to go out and start this guy over a star or anything. So if you need help and no one else is available, Alex Smith could be a decent option.
That's a fair way to describe it, Lash. Some Flyers to I think that Kirk Cousins sounds like a really good play this week. The Dallas defense hasn't been the greatest, but because their run defense is so bad, that's going to open up that whole offense, and that's where Kirk Cousins really just thrives. He just you put him in a dome. He is a dome quarterback, and I don't know where they're playing, but one or the other, it's a dome. And so I know that much. And when he plays in a dome, 100% of the time that I can remember, so one time, he will torch a defense. So I also think that Dalvin Cook will score a lot of points fantasy wise, but Kirk Cousins, there'll still be some room there. I really like that one. Alex Smith, I mean, this is just
that's a deep shot.
I mean, a point that I just want to say is this is why you don't look at the stat line of a quarterback and think, oh yeah, he's a good quarterback. You got to watch the games. This is terrible. JD McKissick is getting 15 targets a game, but it's because it's just checkdowns. So give me a break, Mr. Alex Smith. Put in Dwayne Haas King, and let's see what we got at quarterback there. Anyways, okay, there's our quarterbacks. I'm livid.
Uh,
Alex Smith is not better than Haas King right now. I'm just kidding. He is, but he clearly is. But just put him in there.
all right. Hopefully you don't have or do have as strong of feelings about running back, depending how you want to look at it, I guess. Who do you got at running back this week, Ozzy?
I put down. I don't know if I cheated. So first off, I got Adrian Peterson and Kerryon Johnson.
Okay, okay.
Put both of them because I think that honestly, people could probably, if you just need to put in somebody in the flex, I honestly could see both of these guys putting up enough points to be flex worthy. 7-8 points, I'm happy
Hey,
in the flex,
yeah.
right? So I put both of them down here because in my league, Kerryon Johnson was just taken. I don't know if Adrian Peterson was at the time of recording, but I know that at one point he was free. So, like, whoever picks them up, you could slot either one in. And I think that against the 29th ranked run defense in fantasy, you're going to see enough points, enough production. Matt Stafford's aiding a injured thumb right now. They might need to run the rock a little bit more. And they just saw the Tampa Bay Buccaneers put up over 500 yards of offense. And a lot of that came from a 99 yards of it came from a 99-yard Rojo touchdown. So you can run the ball on this team. As much as I like the Panthers, I'm streaming their defense this week. So I mean, I'm hoping against you if you're picking up these guys, but yeah, just because they got a good playoff schedule. So I'm not streaming them. I picked them up for good. Had the Pats defense, he was stifling me. Anyways, back on track. So Adrian Peterson, I would pick him up. I mean, he's just showing that he can turn back the clock when he needs to. And Kerryon Johnson, they obviously trust this guy enough to put him in on the 1 yard line and take away touchdowns from DeAndre Swift when he's healthy. So I can tell you that from experience. So either or, I don't think you can go wrong. I don't have a preference over one or the other because I think that they will split the carries rather evenly. Excuse me. Lash,
Right.
who do you got at running back?
What are your thoughts? I also have Kerryon Johnson just because Adrian Peterson is taken in my league, but I imagine he is out there in a number of leagues. I tend to agree with you, I think. It just really depends what you believe about this game. If you think Detroit is going to go out there and pile up a lead, I think Adrian Peterson is probably the better play. But if you think it's going to be a closely contested game or Carolina is going to be out in front, which would likely only happen if Teddy Bridgewater plays, I think Kerryon Johnson is probably the play just because the direct quote attached to Kerryon on my app is he is supposed to fill in for Swift, quote unquote, as much as possible. So I don't know if that's just like coach speak or what, but I look for him to get like the receiving work. So, and like a number of carries on the ground too. So I don't expect him to just take over Swift's role by any means, but I think he should see like probably a 50-50 split, like you said. So yeah, it just depends how you believe this game's going to go, which one you're going to want to play, I think.
Yeah.
And then, go ahead.
Well, no, I was just going to add a little bit, but I actually don't need to add it. It's okay.
Oh,
just, it's not important.
Okay. And then I have a second option, Salvon Ahmed from the Dolphins. He got 21 carries last week, had a pretty good game overall. Even with Matt Breida coming back, I think they want to come with like a bell cow approach. They want one guy to see a majority of the work, like evidenced by Gaskin, evidenced by whoever their one healthy guy is who's producing. And right now that's Ahmed. And for my sake, having Gaskin, I hope that ends so that Gaskin can come back off the IR and take that role back. But they're playing Denver, which is right around the middle of the pack matchup in the 18th matchup against running backs. So it's a pretty favorable matchup. They like to run the ball. They like to keep the defense and just like kind of maintain ball control, run the clock as much as they can, limit the mistakes that Tua is going to be like exposed to, I suppose.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and 21 carries last week. That's pretty juicy for a guy that was just asked to slot in there. So,
Yeah, that's really good volume for fantasy purposes.
yeah, so definitely a good flyer for this week if he's still available. I know he was taken in my league. Gosh darn it. Wide receivers, Lash. Who you got?
Um, well, it seems like when I do recommend him, he shits the bed, and when I don't, he has big games. But I'm gonna say it, Marvin Hall versus Carolina again. um, it's just a matter of without Galladay there, he's again just that big body downfield receiver. So you're looking for a big play or two. Obviously, it's not just going to be like a 10 target kind of day for him. You're looking for the big plays, the touchdowns coming from him. And if he hits, you're going to have a decent flyer.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just love to talk about Miami, I guess. Jakeem Grant, Preston Williams is still out. Last week, he was pretty involved. He ran a lot of routes, got a lot of looks. It only resulted in 5 targets, but he ended up putting up a pretty decent stat line. I think he had double-digit points at least. He's a speedster. He's like one of the fastest people in the league, probably. His downfield targets are insane. And recently, since I've been paying a bit more attention to the Dolphins, I've seen that they do run him like on short routes, intermediate routes too. So he's out there. He's running the routes. If Tua throws the ball a bit more, I think he'll be a big target. And lastly, Brashad Perriman coming off a big game. Joe Flacco looked good. I don't know if it's good to trust or bet on Joe Flacco because he threw for like 100 yards against the Patriots or something stupid. Or
Yeah, it's
was
not
that the Patriots? Yeah.
No, it was, but it's not good to. Please do not be betting on Joe Flacco. You'll be broke. Don't do
but
it.
Again, he's a similar mold to both those other guys. A deep shot that could go for a big play, and if he does, you have a decent week on your hands.
Yeah, exactly. A big boomer bust. But yeah, sometimes if you're on the cusp of a playoff spot and you're desperate, go get a boomer bust kind of guy. My flyer of the week at wide receiver is, I'm not sure if it's so much a flyer, but I was checking on, as you know, Lash, NFL Fantasy, and he is rostered on 91.5% of rosters, but he's only started in 28%. That's CD Lamb for the Dallas Cowboys. 28% of people are starting him. This guy needs to start this week. He is getting a ton of volume. Just from the couple of games that I looked at least 7 targets a game, and that's pretty darn good. Against a Vikings defense that has improved, and I kind of like that from a non-fantasy perspective, just from a game, just from this team heating up, I guess, and sparking some playoff discussions. I still like this matchup from a fantasy perspective because they're not going to be able to cover all of Amari Cooper, Michael Gallup, CeeDee Lamb, Ezekiel Elliott. You can't cover all those guys for the whole 4 quarters. I don't care who you are. You could be the friggin' 2000 Ravens. I wasn't old enough to really be watching, but I know that they're a good defense, so I'm just presuming. Anyways, I like the amount of targets that CeeDee Lamb has gotten. I went back and checked how many targets. Oh, no, this was Michael Gallup. Never mind. I was going to have Michael Gallup too, but then I didn't like what I saw. So nonetheless, even when Dak was out and they had the carousel at quarterback, the Cowboys did, CeeDee Lamb is still getting a ton of targets. They want him incorporated in this offense, and against a team like the Vikings that can have hit or miss types of weeks, I really like this as an opportunity. If you have him on your team, start him. If you're in the 9% of leagues that do not have him rostered, pick him up, start him. He's a good flyer this week. There we go.
Yeah, I would agree. Obviously, you're still betting on the Andy Dalton experience, but that can be hit or miss too. So hopefully he hits and the Vikings defense misses, and you have a good week.
And I don't. I'm not going to save this for third and wrong. I'm going to spill it right here. I am buying into the Andy Dalton experience.
Oh boy,
coming back from a concussion. I mean, he only had one full game as the QB, and obviously a guy needs some time to get acquainted into a system. I think that taking some time off, like, yes, you're concussed. Maybe you're not. You're still able to take a part of these Zoom meetings, and you get him kind of going get the scheme, get him more familiar with the scheme, and you've got him surrounded by talent. Surrounded, Lash. He's
Right.
swimming in talent on that roster. So I am buying into the Andy Dalton experience, and I think that we could see the Cowboys catch lightning in a bottle here, and make a run and take down the NFC least.
Oh boy,
it's not a big
hot
ask.
take.
It's not a hot take. It's not a big ask. You don't need to win a lot of games to win this division. Yeah, I think that this is going to be a really, really pivotal week, but I don't think that they'll win this week. But I do like the outlook for this Cowboys team. I think that they could actually take it down, and Andy Dalton will be the sung hero. He will be. Yeah, I think so. Anyway, so that's my lukewarm take of the day. Okay, so moving on to submissions, LaChapelle.
Yes, sir.
We've got some submissions from a couple people. So if you don't know where to find our listener submissions, check us out at the Amateur Agency on Twitter and Instagram. Instagram's where you can give us your submissions, but DM us or add us wherever you are on social media. And that's at the Amateur Agency. I realized I said that really fast the first time. Put it in the notes. Okay, first off, Boater911. His fantasy thoughts are good. Thank you, Boater911.
He was happy that we're recording on Saturday rather than streaming on Sunday morning.
Perfect. Yeah. Good. Literally the quote. End quote. Good. All right. Then we got Coledale97. Drop Devin Singletary. His workload is diminishing. That is facts. Now, and they're also incorporating, like, with his workload diminishing, obviously Zach Moss is increasing. And I mean, I really like what I've seen out of Zach Moss. He torched the Pats defense a couple of weeks ago. And he just seems like a kind of a complete running back, the guy that they kind of wanted Devin Singletary to be, and like a more in between the tackles kind of running back. And that just seems to be the route that they want to go. I personally really like Devin Singletary. He helped me in my league last year, miss playoffs, but he still got some points. I still liked him.
Oh my God.
But so yeah, I mean, drop the guy. He's not doing much from fantasy wise, and they're obviously he's not the player that the Bills are going to be utilizing down the stretch, especially as we start looking into playoffs. So, I mean, start looking elsewhere. If you can package him in a trade, by all means, but I don't think you're going to get much for him. It's going to have to be a pretty big package. So, Lash, what are your thoughts on Coledale97's submission?
Yeah, you can probably just drop him. His snap counts are going down. His touches are the 5 and 7 the last 2 weeks. It all depends like who you're dropping him for, though, too. Don't just like go drop him for the sake of dropping him. Because he's still, like Austyn said, I like Devin Singletary as a player too. It just doesn't seem like the fit is right, and the Bills just straight up like don't want him to succeed. He doesn't get rushing touchdowns. Yeah, no, he doesn't get touchdowns at all. He has 1 on the season. They run the ball in with Josh Allen or Zach Moss. So I think, yeah, he's droppable as long as you're dropping him for someone who's going to help your team. Don't just drop him because we said to drop him.
Yeah. Drop him for like Adrian Peterson, Kerryon Johnson, one of our flyers,
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, yeah. All right, we've got Tomac16. Hey, Tomac, thanks for your submission. Your support means the world to us. Big Ben is a quarterback 1 this week. Oh, is quarterback 1 this week? Just straight up.
I wasn't sure if
QB1.
this was a question or a statement. Is he saying he's going to be QB1 or is he going to be a QB1?
Knowing Tomac, this is a statement. This is quarterback 1. He's saying Big Ben is the man in week 11. I can see it. I wouldn't say that this is a hot take considering Big Ben's week last week, making three wide receivers in the top 10, you said last week, Lash?
Yeah,
Against the
top
Bengals.
11, but yeah.
Top 11. Yeah, so they're obviously happy to pass the ball around. Their running game hasn't been the same this year. And they're completely happy to give it to Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson, Juju. Like they've got such an array of weapons on that they can air it out with. And they can even do like those weird, like little shovel passes, those little forward dinks that they just like run across the formation and you just do. So
Nothing like a little forward dinking.
yeah, you know. Yeah, so they're the king of the dinks, the king dinks.
Oh my God.
I don't know. Why am I here? But yeah, so against the Jags defense, I don't even know who's starting at quarterback for the Jags this week, but if it's Lutton, I mean the train has left the station on Lutton, as we discussed last week. Lutonomy is not real. So I think that this is a good take, Tomac, and I could see it.
Yeah, I saw somewhere that Big Ben was like calling a lot of his own plays in the hurry up offense last week. And based on the stat lines, 49, 32, 42, and 46 passes in games that they've like been having in hand and stuff. If that trend continues and Big Ben continues to call his own number, I can definitely see multiple QB1 weeks down the stretch.
Man, the audacity this guy has to just call his own plays, and it's working. So I guess the coaches are just like, you know what, we'll pay the offensive coordinator just to save face, but you're our guy. You're our offensive coordinator. Yeah, it's all yours. We'll just keep him for show. He'll get a good job somewhere else. Anyways, so yeah, so there we go. Kyler Murray will not be quarterback one this week, unfortunately. He only got me 20 points against the old Seattle Seahawks.
Only. If that's Kyler's bottom line, you're pretty happy.
I'm pretty sure that's his worst week this year, but yeah, I'll take 20 points. I'm just being a spoiled Kyler Murray holder. So yeah, it's not 29 points like I've been used to. 37 a couple weeks in a row. But anyways, not to brag. I'm 4-6, so I don't have much. So I got to take what I can get.
Moral victories.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Last submission, Lash. The last Lash. We forgot that last week. I realized. Oh man, I'm writing it down right now. Okay, we're not doing the last Lash yet. Putting you on the spot for the last Lash.
I don't know if I have one.
The last submission. This is coming from Steve Bolin, my co-host at Third and Wrong and friend of the show. Which Pats running back do I start? Please God help me. I should say that more in the way that it's read. Which Pats running back do I start? Please God help me. There we go. Well, Steve. Oh man, the Pats activated Sony Michel, as you probably know, just off of IR, recovering back from that quad injury. Rex Burkhead was sitting on the waiver for me for a while, and I pulled it up as if I was going to grab him, and then I canceled it because I was like, this is a mess that I do not want to be a part of. I did the same thing with Damian Harris when waivers came by this week. He was a free agent. Same thing. I was about to pick him up. I actually submitted the waiver claim and then I deleted it because this is a gong show. I do not want to play any part of it. But against the 30th ranked Texans run defense, according to the NFL fantasy app, I always got to say that because Lash uses a different app. So I'm sorry you got to do it. But I would go with Damian Harris. I really love this guy. And he is such a complete running back. I really like him. He breaks tackles like crazy. I think he might be one of the best statistically this year in broken tackles. And they just this guy's a powerhouse at running back. He just runs so well. And I don't really have much else to add. I think that the Pats have really harness that power run style with Cam Newton. And Damian Harris and Cam Newton make a perfect 1-2 punch, as weird as that is to say, as far as running the football goes. So I guess it's not that weird. Everybody's used to Cam Newton running the football, but it feels weird for me as a Patriots fan saying that. So yeah, no, I think I'd stick with Damian Harris. I know you've got him at your spot right now, Steve. So don't fret that somebody else just picked up Rex Burkhead, and don't fret about Sony Michel until further notice. Sony hasn't looked the greatest this year. When he did have a few runs, he was only getting a few carries a game, and he still looked good, but the Pats haven't been liking what they've been seeing, I guess. So stick with Harris. You're good. You're in good hands.
Yeah, and in my league, Steve has 2 of the 4, but it's James White and Rex Burkhead. So
ooh, my least favorite of the 4.
I think I would agree with you, especially if you're in a standard league. Damian Harris is the move. It's just the lack of touchdowns kind of puts a cap on his value. When they get in close, he doesn't get many goal line looks. It's just Cam. So like they're all kind of they all just cap each other, all 5 or whatever of the useful running backs that they run, plus Cam as their RB1. Like you don't trust any of them really. Between this, LA, and the Ravens backfields, it's kind of just like, like you don't really want a part of it. Like, based on the talent, you want a part of it, but then the fantasy production is just spread out amongst too many weapons, and they're just all getting like an even split. So it's not a fun time.
Yeah, I was just gonna say too, right before you said you do want to be a part of it. Like they're so talented that you want to keep them on your roster. They're too talented to drop,
right?
But they're not good enough to start. It's just I'm in this position with Gus Edwards right now, and before everybody thinks, "What the hell are you doing with Gus Edwards in this predicament?" He's been the best running back for the Ravens, and even when Mark Ingram's healthy, he still just looks like the most electric. And this is a similar situation where Damian Harris is definitely one of the better running backs. I think that he is just an instant start in most leagues as it currently stands. But the rest are like, what do I do? Sony Michel, until further notice, is not. But Rex Burkhead's put up over 10 points in the last 2 weeks. So what do? He's too good to drop, but not good enough to start. It's so sad and tough, but I mean, as a Patriots fan, that's the only thing I've got going for us. Like our offensive line and our running backs are pretty much the only bright spots. Well, with Stephon Gilmore coming back, we got some help on the secondary. But anyways, I'm talking about my team. I'm excited. Let's go, Pats. All right. So,
where does that leave us?
Any final thoughts? Last lash.
Oh,
wait,
man.
I gotta bring it in a little bit better than that. Sorry. Okay, it's time for the last flash.
Oh no, I'm not ready.
Off the top of the dome.
I'm gonna say Alex Smith is the best quarterback out of any quarterback who's most commonly on the waivers. So that's like the likes of Dalton, Rivers, Cousins, Mayfield, Flacco, Lutton, obviously, I feel like. And then like maybe Derek Carr and other guys who might be there in some leagues.
Oh,
so he's going to be
alone, eh?
He's going to be a top 15 quarterback. I think that leaves him.
Man, Buddy's riding the last lash with a freaking hammer. Alex Smith, a top 15 quarterback this week.
Now that I say that, he's not even going to eclipse 15 points. So
yeah, they better freaking put in Haskins this game. Not because you said that, but because I just freaking want to see Haskins. Anyways, I almost got 3 Haskins jerseys because I made a bet. And if I would have gotten that and then he gets benched in the friggin' 4th or 5th week, like, oh, what a waste of money that would have been. At least if he's starting in week 11, I could at least say I got some value out of it. Anyways, thank you for tuning in to Fantasy Football for Dummies by Dummies. I am your co-host, Austyn Dummy One, and this is. I won't do this often. Actually, I won't do this ever again. I just was reading my name on there, just for everybody. I don't know why. I know my name. You know my name. You can read. And for Lash or Dummy number 2, so long and farewell. Please stay with us.
Bruh.